We are changing communities.
All right, all right. That puts us in the mood for Women for Progress Radio. This is Willie Jones, and I'm president of Women for Progress. And I have with us tonight my trusted co-host, Miss Teresa Jones. Welcome to the show, Teresa.
Hi, hello everyone. So excited to be back again
and we
on
have
radio.
And we have, of course, our guest tonight, Mr. Cash Westland. If you'll sit tight with us a little bit, Cash, we're going to get a little administrative work done, and then we'll get going with our conversation. This has been a wonderful week, and so many wonderful things going on. What's happening up there at J5, Teresa?
Well, I've actually made some changes. So
okay.
I start law school in a couple of weeks.
Wow.
And actually 11 days from now.
Wow.
So my company has kind of let me start the transition period.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm actually in Oxford right now.
Okay,
in
wonderful.
my new home.
Wonderful.
And just, preparing myself for law school. I have all my books, and I am sort of phasing out of the company for a few months while I get into the books.
Okay. So have you been able to check out the campus, kind of get a feel of everything yet?
No, not yet because of COVID, and even our orientation is going to be virtual this year. But I've been getting sort of acclimated here back again in Oxford. I went to school at Ole Miss in undergrad, but it just looks so different up here now. It's been a long time. So
will some of the classes be on campus and some be virtual? Or is everything virtual?
Yeah, so I chose hybrid. The school sent out a survey to everyone to say, what do you prefer? And I wanted to have kind of a blend. So 2 of my classes will be online, will be virtual. And 2 of my classes will be hybrid, so I will get to go into the classroom and meet the professor a couple of times for those other classes.
Good. Well, we sending you much love, and success, okay? And keep us updated.
Thank you, Cass.
Yes.
Now, I think I want to take our first few minutes, Teresa, to talk about a voting plan. We know that there will be challenges for folks getting ready for November election due to COVID and the pandemic. And so we want people to already now, if you have not already, to start thinking about what is voting going to look like November 3rd. And we got to prepare in advance. We got to make sure that we have as many people registered to vote because we got time to register people. We want people to understand, to make a plan. And when we say make a plan that means you got to prepare. You got to make sure that your voting location has not changed. You want to make sure that you're still on the voting roll because sometimes accidents happen and people get purged for the rolls and you won't find out until after the election. But there's some things that you can do for that too. We want to also provide resources for folks to find out about the candidates that will be on the ballot. Absentee voting is going to be crucial to this election. So many of us have issues around COVID that we want to be able to make sure that we still able to, our vote is counted. So we want to share some things. Tonight we're going to just share with you the short voting plan. But over the next couple of days, we're going to be laying out in partnership with League of Women Voters this really extensive plan, exactly what you need to do, how you need to get your sorority engaged, how you need to get your church organization engaged in this process of making a voting plan. We want us all together to share the various websites that we need to go to download various forms, be able to find out deadline information and all of that kind of stuff. So let's get started. I got a lot of information I want to share, and I'm going to pull up a screen in just a minute. But I want to give you some important dates. September 4th is that date to request your absentee voter application. You can request it after that date. Request it online or in person starting September 4th. So please make sure that you're aware of that. You can vote at your county clerk's office starting September 21 through 5 p.m. each day through October 31 of 2020. Those are important, two very, very important dates that I want to share with you tonight. September 4th, you can request your absentee voter application. You can request it online by downloading it, or you can request it in person after September 4th. And I'm going to put up a little graphics. I've been getting all Zoom-like today. I'm going to pull up a little graphics to show you a few things that we want to, and I'm going to go over just very quickly this voting plan that you can jot down while you're listening to us. On Friday evening, this information will be on the womenforprogress.net website, Women for Progress, Women for FOR Progress.net website. We're going to be posting also pieces of it on our Facebook page and social media and Instagram. So if you have not connected with us by liking our page and going to our Facebook page and like us on Twitter and Instagram and all those kind of things, make sure you do that. And also send us an email at mail, M-A-I-L, at womenforprogress.net, mail at womenforprogress.net with your name and your email address, and we'll add you to our database, because we also will be connecting with you by email with all of these links. And the great thing about getting an email from us, when you get that email, you're going to be able just to click on those websites instead of trying to copy and paste or trying to figure out where they are or get them into your browser, that kind of thing. So make sure you connect with us. So, voting on November 3rd, 2020 is likely to require more planning than usual because of the... Wait a minute, I think I may make sure did I share that screen, Teresa? Did you see that when I pulled it up? Let me do that. I didn't share it. I was just running my mouth. Okay,
there it is.
Okay, everybody can see that now. Okay, so I want to briefly share this is our short version of the voting plan. Voting on November 3rd is likely to require more planning than usual because of the challenges posed by COVID-19. So we want you to first put your election day on your calendar right now. If you're holding your smartphone, go into your smartphone and put an alert for November 3rd. And a reminder 24 hours in advance, okay, to remind you that you're going to be voting on November 3rd. Also, text your friends to add that to their calendars also. And then you want to check your voter registration. Is it up to date and is it accurate? Here on our screen, we have a link to the Secretary of State's website, a direct link. Like I said, it'll be on the website on tomorrow, but you can go to the Secretary of State website, and this is listed on the screen. If you have not registered, you want to download your voter registration form and make sure you get it completed, and it does have to be notarized, okay? Decide how to cast your ballot. Are you going to vote at a polling location? Also, we're going to be providing the link there for your particular polling location, for you can find out where that is. Are you going to vote absentee at the county circuit clerk's office? Okay, where you can vote absentee and get it notarized and everything right there at your circuit clerk's office. Or will you be doing it by mail? Again, it needs to be notarized, and there is a link there where you can download a copy of that absentee application, okay? And then you want to familiarize yourself with the ballot in your precinct. And I don't know if I have the date yet of when the ballots are coming out. Cass, do you know what that date is?
I don't. I wish my wife was right here, but I
Okay.
don't have it.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. If we catch her back in the room again, we'll get that date and share.
I will.
But there, at some point, I think in September, it may be even after September 4th, the ballots will be ready. So you want to download a copy of that ballot. We've also provided that link. It too will be on the website tomorrow night, and you can be prepared to download that. Look at that ballot. Each category. Who will you vote for? Okay, if you're not familiar with a particular candidate, this gives you time way in advance to make sure that you go to their website, their Facebook page. You can go to vote411.org. There's several websites that you can provide information that provides information on candidates. And I think Ballopedia also has
that'll help.
Yeah, that'll
be
help
there.
also. And then you can always come back to us here at Women for Progress. If any questions regarding any of this information, please come to email us or text us You can text us at 601-259-6770 with any questions, or you can email us at mail, at womenforprogress.net. And also, if you have someone need help getting to the poll, senior citizens, anyone who needs help to the poll, please reach out to us and we will get you connected to make sure that you're able to do that. I want to remind you that you want to call up your nursing homes, because still many of us, we can't get into the nursing facilities, but call up the nursing homes and make sure that your particular loved one has received all the information that he or she needs in order to be able to vote by absentee ballot also. So make sure, don't just assume. They do have a responsibility to make sure that all the citizens there are asked that if they would like to participate, and then they will do the paperwork for them. But you make sure you do not take that for granted. Make sure you reach out to your nursing home or facility or assisted living community or wherever they are, and make sure that they have access to everything they need. And if you have some seniors in your community that you know are living alone, please knock on their door and just step back and say, hey, will you be voting this in November? Can I help in any particular way? Leave a note in their mailbox or whatever it may be, so to make sure that they have the help that they need. And again, I want to thank League of Women Voters for pulling all of this information together. We are partnering with this particular Get Out the Vote and voter engagement process. And we want you to go to vote411.org also, in addition to our website at womenforprogress.net, vote411.org. And we together will be giving you more information, as I stated, on the League of Women website, League of Women Jackson, or on their Facebook page at LWVJA, League of Women for the League of Women Voters of Jackson area. And League of Women Voters is a trusted entity that has been around doing things and making sure that we are engaged in the voting process for many years. So we thank them so much for their partnership in this effort, from putting all the work together for this information that I'm sharing with you tonight, and we'll continue to put that information. And Ms. Welchland is back in the room, so we can ask her. We were asking, when will the ballots be ready? Is it after September 4th? The ballots for November?
Oh goodness, it's in. I don't know that.
Okay.
I don't know the deadline, but I can ask that right quick.
Okay. And we will also, again, we'll put that up on our website tomorrow night, and we'll be posting that information out to social media, so we make sure you have that. So thank you all so much. I hope that information was helpful. The main thing is not only that you prepare a voting plan for yourself, but make you a list of 10 people. Everybody make a list of 10 people or more. Let me say 10 people or more. And make sure that they have a voting plan also, and share that voting plan, which again will be downloadable. That PDF will be downloadable tomorrow night on our website. You can share that with your church organization. Put it out there in the lobby area so people can pick up a copy for those who go in and out. I know many of the churches are not having regular service, but some of them are having regular service. And then just leave some at wherever that you are. If you are still back at work, leave them in your lobby area so your friends and associates that come in and out of your place of business can get it. Your employees will be informed. And look, this is not a Democrat or Republican information sharing. This is what every single voters, whether you're Democratic, Republican, or Independent, you need to know. Okay, do you have anything to add to that, Teresa?
No, I think you pretty much covered it. Other than it is critical that we all vote. Please don't think your vote does not count. It votes in this election. You're going to determine the state of our country for the next 4 years. Please vote.
Well, thank you. And also, of course...
Willie, I just had a question. Are you asking when will the ballots be ready for the election?
No, when they will be able to download that ballot to be able to get a copy of it. Is it after September 4th?
Okay, I'm getting that information.
Okay.
So as soon as I get it out,
Okay. We'll share that. There's so many things, that great things happening today. Miss Cassandra, I'm so glad you're sitting in with Mr. Cass tonight, because this is a fabulous Equal Pay Day. right?
Yay.
It's Black Women's Equal Pay Day.
And and look, I don't have my T-shirt on because I didn't go into work today to pick up my T-shirt, but my truck drivers and my instructors sent me pictures that I'm going to post a little later. They took pictures
great.
and they look fabulous, and I was so glad that they did that because they are in support of that. And I think they wanted me to mention tonight, if you want equal pay, you can become a truck driver as a female, and everybody gets paid the same. So I got to have that shameless plug in, okay? But Cassandra, please tell us about Equal Pay Day and why this day is important to all of us.
So today, we recognize how far into the next year a Black woman has to work in order to catch up to the wages of a non-Hispanic white male. And so she has to work an extra 8 months in order to make the same wages that a white male has made. And so that's pretty significant. So that's 200 and some days into the year that she has to work. And so that really speaks to the wage inequities that exist in this country. For a Black woman, in Mississippi, we make 56 cents on the dollar. And we have the widest wage gap.
Wow.
And so we're talking about Black women losing a significant amount of money over the course of their career. They lose close to $900,000 over the course of their career. And so that means when they get ready to retire, they don't have those resources. And so you see so many of our women, you go to, the Walmarts, and they are working in the Walmarts, right, at age 60, at age 70. Some of them may want to do that, but I'm pretty sure it's because they don't have the resources. So today we are bringing awareness around that issue. I don't know if I said it or not, but Mississippi is the only state that do not have an equal pay law, and that's problematic. And we have a federal law, but that doesn't do enough to protect women's wages. And so today we have been on this T-shirt campaign to continue to elevate the issue. We've had a couple of events, probably 3 events so far within the last 24 hours, just to encourage people to educate them about the issue, why that's important. And we know right now, during COVID, money is super important. And if women were getting what they needed, they may have had some nest eggs stored up, but they're not.
Right. And COVID highlights this issue even more so, correct, Cassandra?
It does. It highlights, for instance, again, Mississippi's Black women, we make up 30% of the essential workers, 20% of the essential workers, I believe, in the state of Mississippi. And that's pretty significant, particularly when we're the breadwinners and the co-breadwinners, of our families. And so we're the essential workers. We're on the front lines, and we're losing wages just because we have inequities, that exist. And that's really rooted as, between sexism and racism. We're at the center of that. And that's what's causing this. Our wages, our worth has not been valued like other women. And I want to be clear, white women, Native American women, Latino women, Asian women, their wages are also below what a white male makes. But Black women, it's low. So we all are hurting. All of us are, but some worse than others.
And this awareness campaign also pushes that topic to the elevation of the issues that we need to focus on. I am also very happily, I see more and more men supporting this particular issue. Not just because it looks good and they like wearing the T-shirts and the stickers as Cash has on, but because they really now are getting the education that you all, especially an organization like Mississippi Black Women's Roundtable, are really connecting the dots for people. And when people understand how that ties down to not only to families and children, but it ties down to the economy of the state of Mississippi, then everybody gets on board with that.
because it's not just a woman's issue. It's a family issue. It's a community issue. It's an economic issue because we contribute so much into the economy. If, and this was in our report that we released, and it's on our website, it showed that if Mississippi would pass an equal pay law, it will cut poverty in half, and I think it's $41.3 billion will go back into the economy.
Wow.
That's pretty significant. And so we've done some things. There was Teresa has helped us do. We have elevated this issue at the local level, getting mayors to introduce and become equal pay committed cities. And so right now we have 2 cities who are equal pay committed cities, and Jackson, and then also Clarksdale, which Teresa helped us to get. So what that means is that they passed ordinances that would really slow down and really interrupt the pay inequities. And so we're calling on other cities to do that. So this morning we had a breakfast call with municipal leaders across the state asking if they would do that. And so we got 4 commitments today. And so we're really excited about that. And we asked them too if they would help us get businesses on board to be equal pay committed businesses.
That's amazing. Congrats.
Thank you.
Yeah. What most people aren't realizing is, pressure will burst a pipe. And if the state doesn't do it, the good work that y'all are doing, you're applying pressure through the local communities, through the municipalities across the state. We appreciate the work that you're doing. I'm excited about hearing about other cities getting on board. Our city in Clarksdale, when I worked there, they passed the ordinance almost unanimously. I think unanimously.
They did.
Unanimously passed equal pay, because when you get down to these local communities and they're thinking about their own families and their own people who they know in their communities, how can you look that person in the face at the grocery store or when you're walking down the park and you say that you voted against this woman getting her equal pay in this community? So I think it's a brilliant strategy to start at some of the municipal levels, since we're not seeing a whole lot of traction at the legislative level. And I'm excited to help you continue getting some more communities involved. So
yes,
I'd love to follow up with you later on that.
Yes, I want your help.
And I want to say here for just a moment, we lost our feed on live on the Facebook feed, but our radio networks is still picking us up. So we're going to continue to record and continue to broadcast over our radio networks. And we will, for those of you who have missed us, I see I've had some internet issues for the last 2 days, so it says that we're live and it's preparing to launch us again. So hopefully we'll get launched again, but if not, we continue to broadcast on our radio networks live, and then we'll share that feed out to our Facebook after the program. So
Ms. Willie, I just think that's just another case for Wi-Fi, universal Wi-Fi across the state of Mississippi.
Yes.
We've got to figure out a way to build the infrastructure so that we can have so we can all have access to internet everywhere in the state of Mississippi.
Yes,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I agree with you there. And look, and I've been fortunate when it comes to the internet not to have had many issues around this. But I think I lost you. Okay, I'm back again. So, but the past 2 days has been a challenge for me, and finally I think we resolved that they're going to replace my router they think that that's what the issue, but I think they're just guessing at it. And but they got one on the way to me, so we'll see if that works. But in this age of digital access, I need my service, and I need it uninterrupted.
Right.
Yeah. So, but anyway, I always believe in a plan B and a plan C. So we are still being recorded on our research. So we'll continue our conversation. And so I am so excited to have Mr. Cash Welchling, because I don't know. I know I have not been on. If you've been on our show before, Cash, I was not hosting that particular night. So I'm so glad that you're with us and we get a chance to have a conversation with you. And I would like for Teresa to just share a little bit of information about you and who you are.
Okay, so Mr. Cash Welchling is a member of the JPS Bond Oversight Committee. He has been civically engaged in the city of Jackson for more than 20 years. He and his wife, Miss Cassandra Welchling, have 3 children. And recently, Mr. Welchling was asked by the Jackson Public Schools Board of Trustees to serve as a member of the JPS Bond Oversight Committee. Now, for those of you who don't know, the Bond Oversight Committee it's appointed by JPS Board of Trustees. Their function is to track and communicate progress towards the construction of projects and the expenditure of funds associated with the $65 million school bond. In carrying out this duty, the committee meets regularly. The committee meetings are all open to the public. And neighborhood organizations and others may use, there's a JPS contact form to message their ward representatives and request information that can be distributed at the association meetings. And Mr. Welchling is actually over Ward 5, is that correct?
Right.
So I think there are 7 other wards total, and Ela Irvin, Ward 1, H. Jones, Ward 2, Sandra McCall, Ward 3, Erica Phil, Ward 4, Erica Dometz Hendricks, Ward 6, and Mitch McGuffey, Ward 7. So thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it. We love hearing about our schools and the things that people are doing to get things done.
Right. Hey, thank you for having me, Teresa, and it's great to see you again, Willie. And congratulations on your new endeavor up there in Oxford. That's exciting. That's really exciting.
Thank you.
So, go ahead.
Well, I wanted to talk more about what is the next phases of these programs, and what are some things that y'all are looking at, especially given the age of COVID.
Well, it may actually be a little advantageous right now to have COVID and have a construction project at the same time. The reason I say that is because one of the biggest inhibitors for some of the projects to move forward was the fact that there were going to be students in a regular school year all this year. That's what they had been expecting. Well, they're not there now, and some will be there, some will not. It's a little bit up in the air, and even with the delay in school starts, it's been able to be able to squeeze a few jobs in here and there. Mm-hmm. I think what's going to be difficult is navigating that huge decision. I don't know exactly if the school board had considered how easy it would be to get into the school when there's no students there. That's not why they made the decision, to do as much as they can online. But this is a huge bond. And it's a very unique bond. This is not one where we build one building and we raise $65 million to build one building. This $65 million bond, which was approved in 2018, is intended to support renovations in every school that we have in the district. And what's exciting about that is it's spread out. And when it's spread out, the size of the jobs are smaller. And there's upgrades that need to be done. And what's good about that is the fact that the smaller jobs will allow for smaller construction bonds, which means smaller companies can be more involved. Mm-hmm. When you have a $65 million job and it's one school, well, there's only a handful of companies in the state that can handle one school, one job, or a bond that big. Mm-hmm. Now that we have hundreds of jobs in every school all around the district, there's going to be jobs for almost any size construction company. And what's special about that is that is going to be a tool to redistribute wealth. So that $65 million bond should be able to, and our hope is that's going to touch as many local contractors as possible. And that's the most exciting part about this bond, is that we have a chance here to really, not only are we paying ourselves when we buy this bond, or when we approve this bond and we pay for this bond, but we're also paying our neighbor's construction company, and we're also, able to see of course, the building gets improved, and the students are able to, be in an environment that's more conducive for success. But ultimately, it's redistributing the wealth locally, and that's a treasure. That's really exciting part of this.
Now, before we go before we move forward, Teresa, I would like for Cass just to give a little bit more information to the public on about how this bond is funded. We make assumptions that people, was there when it happened and we were involved in it, but let's just remind people of how we got this bond and how it's being was developed.
Right, that's great. And bonds are something that are approved from the legislature, and the bond itself is. And before I get into that, a lot of folks should know that more information is available now on this bond than any other bond. And so it's possible that as we talk and we cover so many of the different aspects of this project, I might even, I may not remember all the parts of everything. We have a lot that we're covering right now, but what's really important to know is that you can find anything that I can't speak for on the JPS website.
Okay.
It's, in my opinion, now probably the best covered bond that we've had so far. And for those who don't know how to get to JPS, just Googling JPS and you'll find the website. But if you want to plug in, it's jackson.k12.ms.us. That will pull up a brand new website. The communications department is superb, I think, right now. We have a great communication, a great website. On the top banner, if you go all the way to the right of the top banner at the JPS Public Schools website, you'll see JPS Bond. There, you will see about anything you could possibly find, ask, or answer right there. And the JPS website describes quite a bit of the history as we started this project in 2018. Of course, we asked for 3 times as much. We might not remember that, but some of the what really was needed is probably closer to 200 million. And once the bond is approved, those who buy bonds, once it's approved, it gets issued to the public, and people can buy the bond, and then, of course, JPS is responsible for paying that bond back. And it's a municipal bond. And some bonds are paid back, some bonds are revenue bonds. This is a bond that is issued by the state, and we oversee the execution of that bond. And so the management is of the bond itself, and the construction projects are through the JPS administrators, and then we oversee those projects and help communicate that to the public. I don't know if that's answering everything, but that's a good place. We are now into phase 2 of the bond project. But first of all, Willie, did I answer that already?
Yes, you did.
Is that good?
Yeah, that's good.
All right, good.
Yeah.
And so we're well into phase 1 and beginning some parts of phase 2. And what that means is there's going to be a lot of moving parts right now, and there's a ton of jobs going on. And what you'll see in some of these projects is you'll see some parking lots being repaved, the lights being changed. The Coliseum at Forest Hill has been worked on and is, I believe, done. And what you'll see when you go to the JPS bond page, you'll see phase 1 projects. On the left column, you'll see a link for phase 1 projects. It will show the jobs that are currently in phase 1. Now, if you don't see your school there, don't worry. It will show up in phase 2 or phase 3. But right now, there's a ton of schools in phase 1 that are getting worked on. It is the largest of the 3 phases.
Wow. And that phase went from January of 2019 to July of 2020. So that phase just ended, and you all are now, it says it ended, but phase 2 says January of 2020. So
There's going to be overlap.
Okay, all right. So
Yeah,
phase
some
2
of
has
the-
already been engaged. Okay.
Right. One of the sometimes difficult parts of construction that we have planned for, but it's difficult, is once we say we're going to start a project at a school and the school goes under construction, you start peeling back layers of what needs to be replaced. You may develop a need to do more than what you expected. It's just the nature of construction. A resurfacing project may turn into a drainage problem, or may turn into a couple other issues. Maybe electrical issues for the lighting in a parking lot may have been faulty and not expected to be that way. Well, a job can inflate. A project can inflate. And so what sometimes will happen, and what we've planned for, is for contingencies to stretch well into 2020 for phase 1. Many of the projects are going to be wrapping up in 2020. There may be a couple that have lingered into 2021. Maybe they've expanded, but we're hoping that the bulk of them finish in 2020.
Wow. And now the Bond Oversight Committee, since phase 1 is complete, has that committee met, and how satisfied is that committee on phase 1?
Well, it is a moving target. There are always going to be concerns. There's always things that we look for, and we're really satisfied with the transparency of the district. I'll start with that. It's difficult now that we can't meet in person. Ultimately, what we really desire to be able to do is peel back some of the plans and look at the egress here, look at the lighting system there, look at why they chose this tile versus that tile. And it's difficult to get all the details. However, I'm confident that if I were to ask the construction staff, if I wanted to see something specific, and I wanted to see why the decision on the lighting, why a lighting decision was made, why these fixtures versus that fixture, I've been really happy to this point with everything they've given. And if they didn't have the answer in that meeting, they always bring it in the following meeting. And I think it's been an incredible experience to see how well they've covered everything. And it's not easy. It's not easy to have this many jobs, to report on this many jobs. And so I think they've done a spectacular job personally. I think that they're skilled, they're very competent. We have a great staff at JPS. They've expanded the staff, and they've also brought in IMS. It's an engineering firm that's going to help with some of the administrative logistics as well.
Now, is IMS the project manager for this bond?
I'm sorry?
Is IMS the project manager for this bond?
There will be, so the project manager will always remain JPS. The management of the bond itself is the construction program, the bond construction JPS facilities and the operations staff. And so ultimately they are the primary contractors and managers of everything. IMS is brought on to help because there's so many jobs. They are here to help out with logistics and help out with administration of so many of these jobs. They will not be the primary. They don't report to us. They will not be the authority on the project. The JPS staff still will be, and of course the board of trustees are always the final say on everything. So.
And before I interrupt you, Teresa, you had a question.
Well, we're a little past it, but I wanted to talk a little bit about how injecting resources into the local economy actually brings about economic justice for these minority contractors and local contractors who tend to not be able to compete at the state level and not to be able to compete at a regional level.
Right.
I've learned a great deal about it from my kind of working out there in Columbus with J5, who is the environmental service firm. Combined, the CEO has probably 200 staff across the country.
Right.
But we've not been able to do work at the state level.
Right.
And it's not, it's a lot of different systemic issues that prevents companies, minority Mississippi companies, from being able to compete at the state level and do business with the government. So I'm just really proud and excited that you're using this $65 million to go to a myriad of local contractors, and not just, the big guys who are normally doing business with the state, or, who are normally getting all of those resources anyway. That it is, a part of building a local economy is injecting resources into those local businesses, because they hire local people, and that money circulates within their community. So I wanted to kind of talk to you, ask a question about how many anticipated projects. I actually was going to the website while you were
That's
talking.
great.
So I saw that some of the contract amounts are going to be $5,000 up to $3 million. So
Yes.
$1 million is the largest amount of the contract that local contractors will be able to receive from this bond.
Right.
Will they be allowed to have multiple contracts?
Yes. One contractor can do all of them. They can pick and choose what they want to get into. I've been personally in contact with every contractor I can find. And I'm glad you stressed this, because this is a key issue. I have right here, I printed out this. It's the contractor's guide, the minority contractor's guide. And it's probably 10 pages. And there's hundreds of names in there. And as much help as it is to have that, the difficulty is that eventually and as you're pointing out, Teresa, that it is not easy for smaller companies to compete on so many different reasons, that that we really need to stretch out a little bit here and try a little harder for this opportunity to on phase 2 and 3. Let me explain why. Say you're running a small construction company and you can't hire a project manager. That means you're the owner, you're the one paying payroll, collecting it, you're making new bids, you're doing all the paying the quarterly taxes, and you might not have time to go through the handful of extra steps it takes to place a bid and to then readjust your bid if there's an adjustment that needs to be made. It's administratively cumbersome. What I would love to have seen is that there would be small business, the small business administrations would be able to support these projects a little bit more, and that there might be small business loans to expand the capacity of maybe a construction company with 10 or less.
And what I've seen is that the capacity is really the issue, because they're not accustomed to being able to compete with those larger dollar bids.
Absolutely.
They're local contractors. They're mom and pop. Someone, saved their money, started their own company, and are figuring out as they go. So my next question is, what kinds of services are you doing? I know it's construction, but that's kind of broad. What kind of specific services are you all putting out there for procurement?
Well, of course, everything has to be public and posted, and there are a handful of jobs that you'll be able to see that are less than $50,000 that are a little easier for a lot of folks to get. Everything is going to be published, though. Everything is going to be public. Everything is going to be transparent. Yes. And there are regularly meetings that we urge everybody on this list to attend. That's difficult for a construction company owner to attend. I know it. It's not easy. But if you want to get your feet wet, you've got to find a way to get to the website. The website is the strongest tool. Now, if you know a gentleman or a woman who's running a construction company, because now there's more women in construction than ever, that is wonderful. And if you know someone who's running a company and they can't, you've got to find a way to help them get on, because it is easier now. The public and private bids are easier now than ever before. The bid calendar is published. How to get everything that you need is right on the website. And so when you go onto the JPS website and you click on the bond link, the JPS bond link, again, it's on the far right, JPS bond, you'll get to the bond page. On the left, you'll see JPS bond electronic bidding. It's the most important link for any contractor to find. So let me just say it slowly again. Go to the JPS webpage. JPS Bond is the far right. Get to the bond page. On the left column, JPS Bond electronic bidding. All the answers are there. All the forms you need are there. There's going to be contact information so you can call and ask. Reach out to me. I'll help you get in there. I mean, each one of the board members have done everything they possibly can to connect the contractors in their ward. I have a neighbor. I'm stretching out. I can see his house. I went to his house and I showed him how to get to the link. I said, "You got to get on here." He's a plumbing contractor, so the specific, he can come in and say, "I can't do jobs for over $50,000. I can't get a, indemnity bond for more." So, he will go and get a bond for his size that he can manage, and he will get that, and he can manage many of these projects. Because, like you said, there's $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 jobs that are available. There's tons of them.
My next question is: are all of these jobs reimbursable?
So, what we have right now, they're not all the same. Of course, when you look at a $3 million job and you look at a $3,000 job, they're not exactly the same.
Yeah.
And so you're going to have to peel into each contract. And once the contract is approved, the terms of the contract are clear. Some of the contracts will allow for draws, some will not, and some of them, and then when contractors get paid, it's through the school board, and we have, actually, many of the smaller jobs have been easier. This is just what I've heard. In fact, not too long ago, I've heard that we've had one of the architects that are helping JPS said we've had no problems with getting paid on the smaller jobs. A couple of the larger jobs had a couple of hang-ups. They're working through them. It's been a real transparent project and process so far. And so, yeah, it's been exciting to see smaller jobs available. And so...
And I also want to say to minority contractors and businesses, too, is to reach out to some of the larger contractors on these things and see how you can work together with them. There's some of the small pieces that you can work with them on. Even, we are in transportation, so there's dirt to be hauled and dump truck drivers and all those things. You mentioned the plumbing situation. So
right.
There's pieces of it. And even if with these larger contractors, many of them have already worked with JPS on other ventures, this is an opportunity for you to get to know those individuals. Even if you don't get in on this deal with them, there may be other opportunities that you can
right.
work with these entities. And many of them are looking for minority people to work with. But have your ducks in the row. Have your stuff together. You do that first. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but you need to make sure that you have everything lined up with your business in place so you can be prepared to answer questions for them so they feel that you're going to make a good partner with them. Will you be a good partner with me? And do you understand this project and what's involved? And so make sure that you are prepared for that. But I want to give the list of the names of your committee members for each ward. Akila Irwin is Ward 1. H.N.C. Jones is Ward 2. Sandra McCall is Ward 3. Erica Fell is Ward 4. Cash Welton, of course, is Ward 5. Ursula Hendricks is Ward 6. And Mitch McGuffey is Ward 7. So those are your committee members. So you can reach out to the various ones in your ward and stay connected with them. Email them, ask questions. Is there a contact email on the website, Bond website, Cass?
There's a couple of them, and there's a couple of them throughout there. I'm not sure which one's the best. There's going to be one for the electronic bidding. There is. I'm sorry, I don't have that readily available. I believe it's under the resources. I have to go back through here and see it. Okay. Sorry. There is a contact tab, but that's going to go to the communications department. You could start there. They'll probably forward there. That's probably the best I can do right now. Yeah, it is. It's the general.
And a lot of these folks, I think, is on Facebook too. Some of these names are very familiar to me, so
Right.
you might want to, if you can't get them there on that website, is maybe send them a message by messenger, and they'll be able to reach out to you too and be responsive, hopefully. But this is great information, Cash. This has been a great conversation and very informative information, and we'll share some of this information out too, also, especially the list of the committee members. And how often do you all meet again?
Yeah, we've been stumbling during the COVID time to meet regularly. We struggled, so it seems to have been monthly prior to that, and now almost every other month, and it's been a real difficult time to get real consistent, but it's typically monthly, and I hope to have that back on track.
And now, are you all streaming the meetings now, since you're not doing it in person?
We're not streaming the oversight committee meetings. Some of the reason is that some of that stuff is not decided on, and some of that stuff is, you can now. First of all, anybody can attend these meetings, so I should make sure that we're not trying to hide anything. They just probably don't have the capacity to have it. All the media covering have the JPS team, covering everything. Now, attending that meeting on the COVID time, I don't know I'm not real sure now. I could probably send that back to you and answer how to get plugged into the Zoom meetings that we're having, post-COVID here. Prior to that, we would have one or two visitors every meeting anyway. And there is probably the most helpful information that you can gather on the website is the construction program update, which is basically what we cover anyway. And that's updated right after our meetings. And you can see an August 4th update on the website now. That's the most current update. And that will give you quite a bit of information on what projects are going, what's been done. One of the neighborhood associations wanted to know, is this project happening here? Is this happening here? And that is the tool I always refer to, because that's what we get from the construction administrators.
Well, this is, again, as stated, it's been a great conversation, extremely informative, and you provided some very practical information to us, and we'll continue to share it out. I want to remind everybody again, as we wrap up, that you want to make sure that you make your voting plan for November 3rd. And Teresa, we haven't even talked about our new VP pick. So give us your feed on that.
So I am so incredibly excited about our choice for vice president. It's almost bittersweet, though, and I'll tell you why. One, Senator Kamala Harris is the first. She spent a career just breaking barriers. She was the first African American Attorney General for the state of California, which I think is the second largest criminal justice agency in the country.
Wow.
She spearheaded a lot of progressive reforms as it relates to prosecution and policing, and just kind of spent a year just advancing the rights and voices of Black and brown people. Most recently, she became the first African American and Indian American woman to serve in the United States Senate from her state, and only the second Black woman in the history of the country.
Wow.
So she was the only Black woman in the Senate when I worked there, and I got to see her a few times. She's very powerful, very confident, and she's about her business.
Yeah.
I looked up to her. I was, I admired her. I was always in awe when I saw her, especially when she was appointed to the Judiciary Committee in the U.S. Senate. She's just been really phenomenal and powerful in her own way, kind of carved her own path as a progressive Black woman, but also kind of tempered with some moderacy. I guess the reason why I'm a little bittersweet now is because now we don't have a Black woman in the Senate. If she's elected, if Biden and her win in November, she will be the vice president, the first woman in history of America to be vice president of this country. It's actually getting me a little emotional because this year is the 100th year women have been allowed to vote
Wow.
in this country. And we have not had a woman president or a woman vice president. So for her to be appointed, it's groundbreaking this year.
Groundbreaking.
It's historic in this moment.
Yeah.
And it also kind of, for me, gives a call to action for other young Black women or women of color and women in general who are looking to run for office and be unapologetic in who they are.
Mm-hmm.
Kamala Harris doesn't have any birth children.
Mm.
And she only got married at 50, 6 years ago, 5 or 6 years ago. Which means like she was career driven and she was still able to find love, and she has stepchildren who she says are the love of her lives. Like, you know, she's still been able to build a family, build a career. And oftentimes when you're in politics and business, they say women can't do it all.
Mm-hmm.
You have to pick what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And as someone who spent, you know, I spent my career in and out of politics, and I'm now going back to get my law degree. You know, it's just really inspiring to me that, you know, a woman can do it all.
Yeah.
You can.
Well,
You
and
can
also
really
she's
get
an
back.
example of what a woman of today looks like.
Yes.
And what many women have been doing for years, but now those things are being materialized on what that looks like in our lives. And
Yes.
I say to us, we women, of course, we're going to vote. We're going to go to the polls and we're going to vote. Our objective is to take everybody else with us. And this particular year, we need to take everybody else with us. And we can say, and look, you can feel comfortable going and voting for this ticket, not just because she's a woman candidate, not just because she's an African American woman, not just because this has been 100 years, because this is a person, a woman that is totally qualified for the position.
Yep.
I repeat,
Yeah.
totally qualified, and let me add, prepared for this position. So we at Women for
Yeah.
Progress don't tell folks how to vote, but we do inform you
Amen.
and get you with information, and that's information you need to know. This is a candidate that is prepared and more than qualified. Teresa, you just stated just the tidbits, not even 1/4 of what her bio and resume, what she has done. But
Lily, can
yeah.
I say that she's a role model for me?
Yeah.
I watch her up there, and I see her doing her interrogations on the Senate confirmations of Kavanaugh. If you see her doing, there's a quote from a Pulitzer Prize winner named Barbara Tuchman. It says, "To be right and overruled is not permissible for people of power in positions of power."
Mm-hmm.
That's a woman who will not be overruled. She stands on that bench and she will grill those, she will grill anybody. She is a powerful interrogator. And I just feel like she's got the right voice for anybody who cares about justice or anybody that cares about, truth in politics. I love hearing her.
Yeah.
She's motivating to me.
Yeah.
For me, it's, we don't have many African American women being just kind of these forceful prosecutors. Most African Americans are disproportionately go into the criminal defense for people in these communities. I love how she's a fighter for justice and truth.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And when you are an African American prosecutor, you have prosecutorial discretion.
Mm-hmm.
You can decide whether or not to prosecute this person who may or may not be innocent, or maybe you don't have enough evidence to convict or to go after this person, and you do have the authority as a prosecutor to decide, you know what, this would be an injustice on this 15-year-old to sentence them to prison for 10 to 15 years. And they can do that.
Mm-hmm.
You can do that. And I think a lot of times we don't see the power in, kind of injecting yourself in that position so that you can show the rest of the country what it looks like to actually be after truth and justice without racial bias, without gender bias, without bias against poverty. And, that's kind of you know, it's been really, really inspiring for me to watch her rise and kind of see her, you know, soar. And I'm actually getting emotional now because that's my passion. That's why I'm going to law school. And, you know, I'm just so proud that she was
our next VP, Cass. Our next VP.
Go ahead, you got my vote.
Yeah, that's our future.
That's all right.
Yes.
I like that.
If y'all have not, for our listeners out there, if you've not paid attention critically, just research her history. Just go look it up and go read her story. She has a great story, and I'm just so proud of her being the vice presidential nominee. It's historic, and
we have to say that it's time for us to have some real leadership in this country. We are in the midst of a pandemic that will not be going away soon. But you know, we get so caught up too in the pandemic, and you know, we must talk about it. I mean, it's the top news of every single day. But there's a lot of other stuff that we were talking about before the pandemic that's being set aside, and we're not getting back to those conversations. But one we got to talk about is leadership in this country. And we have got to have good, strong leadership who can make decisions for all of the people, We have to become an America again that is an example to the rest of the world. We have to be a country that is an example to the rest of the world. And what that takes is good leadership. Leadership that leads all of us, whether you're on the East Coast, West Coast, you're South, you're North, wherever you are. We need leadership that speaks to all of our issues, all of our concerns. And then we need a leader with more character and values that really speak to who we are as a country. And I tell you that VP is a good start.
I'm excited about the diversity of academic backgrounds. Right, so this is the first time we're going to have an HBCU grad on the presidential ticket. On the presidential ticket. And
Sorry. My wife is alumni, so not at Howard, but you know, I mean, you know, I'm a big fan of the HBCU.
Okay.
I love it. And this is the first time in history. The first time since the 80s that the Democrats are going to have a person on ticket who didn't go to the Ivy League school.
Yeah.
The Ivy League schools doesn't determine the rest of the country.
Right.
I love when we are finally selecting leaders that represent all of America. All of America. That's what is exciting me. On a number of things that's exciting me about this candidacy.
Well, let's hope she holds that seat long enough, Teresa, so you can get in. It takes time for you to get in and get through law school and get going. So thank you so much. And thank you. This has been a wonderful conversation, Cash. Thanks to Cassandra for allowing you to sit with us tonight.
Yeah, it seems that we have a tendency to trade nights. She was on last night on our program, and I was doing the duties back there.
Yeah.
And now we're flipping.
That's the advantage of a great team. So you all work great together. We love Cassandra, and we love you and the work that you all both do in this community and the example that you show as parents. I mean, you got a full football team there in that household. A soccer team at least.
Yeah, I've got a long desk here, and I don't know what school's going to be like, but I feel like I'm going to have a classroom full. Yeah. Maybe not a football team, but I'll have a classroom around here.
Yeah, for sure. All right,
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and we look forward to having you back. So come back and sit with us anytime. We'll be reaching out to you, and please reach out to us anytime you want to sit and have a conversation with Women for Progress and Women for Progress Radio. Thanks everybody for tuning in tonight. We got partial, I think, conversation on the Facebook, but we have the full program on our radio networks. And if you go to our website at womenforprogressradio.com, womenforprogressradio.com, immediately following this end of this conversation, you can go back and listen to that entire program. Or you can go to Spreaker Radio, you can go to Apple Podcasts, you can go to iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, Spotify. all of those stations, and just Google Women for Progress Radio, and the latest show will come up, and you can click on it and listen to the entire audio program. And then what I love about all of those apps, Cass and Teresa, is that when you go to Spreaker Radio or iHeartRadio, you can, when you Google Women for Progress or search for Women for Progress Radio, it pops up the most recent program and all of our previous programs also you can listen to. And it has a little button that helps you share. Let's say you say, oh, this was an informative conversation. There's a lot of good information. You hit that little share button and you can share it out to your social media. So we want you to be able to do that too. And so that's a great way. And look, the most wonderful thing happened. I have to share this before we close out. I use Alexa. And when I get up every morning, I'm either listening to CBS Good Morning or one of those programs, or one of my audio books or something I tell Alexa to put on. So one day I just said, let me just say Women for Progress Radio. Oh my God, there was the Women for Progress Radio show. So during the morning, sometimes I'll say, and also let me say this, if you use Alexa, you have to say Women for Progress Podcast. Women for Progress Radio Podcast. Use the word podcast instead of radio. Women for Progress Podcast. So all of you Alexa users out there, if you want to listen to us while you're getting ready in the morning, putting on your makeup, putting your shoes on, say Women for Progress Podcast and listen through Alexa. Let Alexa share the conversation with you with Women for Progress Radio. I thought that was the best thing since sliced bread, Cass.
See, now I was just about to say, Women for Progress are way more progressive. I don't like Alexa listening to me.
Yeah.
I'm nervous. I don't want Alexa. I don't need another woman in the house. As much as I like progressive women, I just need to bring it out.
Yes, definitely.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, but we could not do this without our great support out there that supports our radio program for over 10 years, and we're so grateful for your support. If you want to connect with all the work that we do, go to womenforprogress.net. There's ways that you can connect with us, find out about the history of this organization. We want you to reach out and partner with us. If you a woman who looking for a vehicle for community service, we want to invite you for membership in this organization, and that information is on our website too. Go to our Facebook page, Instagram, Twitter. We're on all of those particular areas for you to engage us. We're even on YouTube, so you can just Google us there or search us there, and we just a wealth of information and previous activity would be there for you to connect with us. We're getting ready to launch some pretty exciting stuff over the next couple of weeks, and I can't tell you what it is, but I'm gonna just give you a little taste. But we're doing some exciting things around putting more women in public office, and I'm not even going to delve into it, but it's going to be some exciting stuff. So you got to get connected with us. Text us your email address or email us and give us your email address so you can get connected and be part of this program and stay tuned to this particular network. Finally, I want to close by saying that I want to thank so many, I'm going to say it very, very short because this is still very on the top of the surface for me, but thanks to everybody who supported me through this time and the loss of my husband. My husband was a lion. He touched our lives in such bright ways, and even though he had the biggest heart, he was also a very strong man. He was a very he was just the light of my life, the bread, the breath beneath our wings in our family and our friends and our community, and we will never forget him. Matter of fact, it's been him who has helped me sustain over the last few weeks. I find myself laughing at jokes that he told me, or conversations that we had, or just times that we have shared together, and we have had an amazing life together. So when I have had tears over the last couple of weeks, it has been tears of joy, it's been tears of gratefulness for the blessing that he was in our lives, in the lives of so many. So thank all of you for your texts and your emails, and Women for Progress members. Those sisters have been just the strength through all of this. And I tell you, it is just wonderful. And women, if you haven't joined this organization, I tell you, you're missing something, because these women really supported me in ways that I just cannot tell you. They knew when to call, they knew when to not call, they knew when to step back, and they knew when to step forward. And I am so appreciative to that, of that all of you all that supported me through this time. So I'm so grateful for all of you. Thank you all so much for your support, so much for your strength. Thank you and good night.
Good night.